Today we're diving into one of the greatest intellectual showdowns in history, the Byzantine Iconoclasm. Now, this was so much more than just a fight over smashing statues. It was a century-long, empire-wide war over one single, absolutely explosive question.
I mean, really think about that. Can you? Can an artist actually pick up a brush and paint the face of God? This seemingly simple question literally tore the Byzantine Empire in two. It pitted emperors against monks, patriarchs against the people, and the stakes weren't just political, they were theological. They went to the very heart of what it means for God to become human in the first place.
The crisis really kicks into high gear in 754 AD. The Iconoclasts, the image breakers, hold a council and lay out this brilliant, seemingly airtight case against icons. And what happened next is kind of stunning. For 60 years, the other side, the people who defended icons, were intellectually silent. I mean, they were persecuted, exiled, even martyred, but they had no effective theological comeback. It took until around 815 AD for two champions to finally step up and crack the code.
So, what was this so-called unbeatable argument that Emperor Constantine V championed? Well, it was a theological masterstroke, a brilliant intellectual trap that all came down to one single powerful Greek word. And that word was aperigroptos. It means uncontainable or incircumscribable, something you can't draw a line around. The Iconoclasts argued that God, by his very essence, is infinite, uncontainable. He can't be limited, can't be described, and he definitely can't be drawn. This single idea became their ultimate weapon.
So here's the killer dilemma that Constantine V threw down. He asked, when you paint an icon of Christ, what are you actually painting? Look, if you say you're only painting his human body, well then you're separating his humanity from his divinity, and boom, that's heresy. But okay, if you say you're trying to paint both his human and divine natures at once, well then you're trying to contain the uncontainable. You're trying to draw a circle around the infinite God, and that, they said, is straight up blasphemy.
It was a perfect trap, a theological checkmate. The defenders of icons, the iconodules, were completely stuck. Heresy on one side, blasphemy on the other. Either way, you lose. For decades, this argument just seemed impossible to beat. And this intellectual beatdown wasn't just some philosophical game. It led to a long, dark, and brutal period for the iconodules. They had this deep, powerful faith in icons, but they just didn't have a coherent way to fight back with words.
60 years. Just let that sink in for a moment. For 60 years, there was no good answer. And during that time, the fiercest defenders of icons, especially the monks, faced horrific persecution. We're talking prison, exile, torture, martyrdom. It was like the intellectual heart of the church had just stopped beating.
So why was their defense so weak for so long? Well, for one thing, they just kept recycling old arguments that didn't really get to the heart of Constantine's new challenge. Even when they had a council in 787 to officially restore icons, the official document they produced was, well, frankly, it was theologically pretty disappointing. And you have to remember, the constant threat of persecution pretty much paralyzed any real high-level thinking. But then, after 60 long years of silence, a hero emerges. Not a warrior with a sword, but a logician with a pen. Saint Nicephorus, the Patriarch of Constantinople. And he had this incredible insight. He realized the iconoclast's entire argument was built on a house of cards.
Nicephorus's big aha moment was this. The iconoclasts had built their unbeatable argument on a clever but flawed confusion of words. They were playing a linguistic game, and he was about to call their bluff.
Okay, so here's the genius move. Nicephorus made a crucial distinction. He pointed out that the Greek word graphe, which just means to paint or draw, is not the same as perigraphe, which means to circumscribe, to define the very essence or substance of a thing. Think of it this way. When you take a photograph of someone, you're not capturing their soul or their essence in a box. You're just capturing their likeness.
And that was the breakthrough. An icon is not some magical jar that traps the divine. It's an image that simply relates to its subject through resemblance. It's a portrait that points to the person, not a container for their very being. Just with that one simple distinction, the whole iconoclast argument started to fall apart.
So, Nicephorus cracked the logical puzzle. But it was another brilliant theologian, St. Theodore the Studite, who would deliver the final knockout punch, an answer that went even deeper, right into the heart of the Christian faith.
Theodore's masterstroke was to shift the entire focus of the debate. He basically said, you're all asking the wrong question. This isn't about the natures of Christ, the what he is. It's about the person of Christ, the who he is.
Let me break that down because this is key. Nature, or ousia, is an abstract idea. You can't draw a picture of humanity in general, right? It doesn't have a specific face. But a person, or hypostasis, is a unique, specific individual. You can absolutely paint a portrait of Peter, because Peter has a specific nose, a certain look in his eyes, particular features. He is depictable.
And that's Theodore's mic drop moment. An icon, he argued, never even tries to depict an abstract nature like divinity. It depicts a hypostasis, a specific person. The icon of Christ depicts the unique, individual person of Jesus of Nazareth who walked the earth and had a real, human, paintable face.
And right here, this is the stunning climax of the whole debate. The iconoclasts were terrified that human artists were trying to contain the uncontainable God. And Theodore showed them they had it completely backward. The artist doesn't circumscribe God. The central mystery of Christianity is that in the incarnation, God chose to circumscribe himself. He chose to become a specific, tangible, seeable, and therefore depictable man.
With that one powerful insight, Theodore didn't just win an argument. He forever defined what an icon truly is. It's not just a pretty picture, it is a profound declaration about the incarnation itself.
So now the logic becomes absolutely unbreakable. Let's walk through it. 1. An icon depicts a person. 2. The person of Jesus is the divine Son of God. 3. This one divine person took on a real, depictable human body. 4. Therefore, that visible human face of Jesus is the face of the divine person. And 5. To paint Christ is to scream yes to the incarnation. To deny the image is, in a way, to deny that God ever really became man.
So let's wrap this up with a clear definition. An icon is a portrait of Christ's person, not his abstract nature. It's a bold statement that this one person is both limited in his humanity and at the same time unlimited in his divinity. And maybe most importantly, it's a witness. To refuse to paint Christ is to hint that maybe he wasn't truly visible, maybe he wasn't truly tangibly one of us.
In the end, this whole brutal, century-long war of ideas revealed a profound truth. A true Byzantine icon is never just a piece of religious art. It's a creed. It's a theological declaration made not with ink and paper, but with wood and paint.
You know, if you boil it all down, this was the fundamental shift that solved the crisis. The iconoclasts were totally stuck arguing about abstract nature. The iconoduals finally won the day when they refocused the entire conversation on the concrete, specific, and depictable person.
And this really leaves us with a final thought for our own time. If a Byzantine icon is this profound statement about what is ultimately real and true, what do the images that flood our world today, our selfies, our advertisements, our media, what do they reveal about what we truly value? What are our modern icons really declaring?